Hi, my name is Tom Oberbauer, and I will be speaking to you about the natural wonders of Baja California. I'm traveling with a group of researchers down the west coast of northern Baja California, and we're stopping at a variety of the little known and little visited islands that occur in that location. Today I'm standing on San Jeronimo Island. It's a small island about 3/4 of a mile long and about 1/4 of a mile wide at its widest. It has a very low species diversity for plants in terms of native plants and even introduced weeds. It only has a half a dozen native plants and maybe a half a dozen weeds, or fewer than that even. However, it has what it lacks in weeds. It makes up for bird populations. It has a tremendous population of breeding birds, breeding marine seabirds, including Cassin's auklets, several species of storm petrels, California brown pelicans, cormorants, and as well as peregrine falcons. It's another example of the diversity that you find in northern Baja California, southern California, and the natural world that we have in that location. Here you can see that the ground is actually literally littered with burrows. These burrows are occupied by these marine seabirds that fly in at night and lay their eggs inside the burrow, and they raise their young into chicks until they're large enough to leave the burrow, and then they leave at night. They're small birds. They're vulnerable to the western gulls that also nest here, so that the Cassin's auklets and the 3 species of storm petrels that breed here utilize this nocturnal entrance and leaving for their advantage. The other thing is that they are less likely to enter and leave during a full moon because gulls can see more and they can be preyed upon more likely during that time. Peregrine falcons also prey on these variety of seabirds that occur here, and occasionally you find parts of one of them that has been devoured by the peregrine falcons that also nest on this island. Peregrine falcons are an integral part of the natural history of these types of areas, so that they're part of the ecosystem that occurs in the region. Here we have a Cassin's auklet with its egg. Normally these are found in burrows, but in this particular case this bird had nested underneath a plastic tarp, so it gave us an opportunity to see what it looks like. San Jeronimo Island also has a small lighthouse on the top of one of the peaks. From the peak up where the lighthouse is located, you can see the view to the northwest across the main part of the island. And then on the northeast side of the peaks on the island, there are a couple patches of Cylindropuntia prolifera, or jumping cholla cactus. This was initially 3 separate patches of cormorants down there, and then they started moving together into one. And now the initial one, the largest one, is starting to move down toward the sea, around closer to the water. And they're kind of jumping into the areas that have some water spray. Slow migration of cormorants from one patch to another. With all of the marine birds and the nesting seabirds on these islands, it's also home to predatory birds such as the peregrine falcon. Here we have Malva pacifica. It's a member of the hibiscus family. It's an interesting group of plants that are related to plants in the Mediterranean, but it has a number of them on the California Channel Islands and in the Baja California Islands. Malva pacifica grows here on San Jeronimo Island in spite of the fact that there are many burrows from marine birds, nesting burrows dug around the base of the plants, and they're trampled on by western seagulls. So it's interesting that they're able to survive here. It also is interesting that the area only receives 3 to 5 inches of precipitation a year, but that moisture is augmented by fog drip during the night. The fog condenses on the leaves during the night and then drips down onto the soil, and in the morning you can still see that the soil is moist as a result of the evening's fog drip. of those white spots on the far hillside are western gulls who are staking out their territories for when they begin nesting in the next few weeks. That rocky outcrop hill on the horizon, up above the horizon, with those little caves on the right side, is the home for a pair of peregrine falcons. As I pan around to the left, you can see a hill that's covered with cholla cactus. That's basically the major location of the cactus on this island. So unlike some of the other islands that are covered with cactus, this one only has one patch here and then another small area down near the village. One of the really interesting reptiles that occurs on this island is the San Jeronimo legless lizard. It's only found on San Jeronimo Island and adjacent mainland part of the Vizcaino Peninsula. As with many of the islands off the Pacific coast of Baja California, San Jeronimo has a seasonal fish camp. There are little structures that are made out of different kinds of plywood and other driftwood material that is used seasonally by the fishermen. There's also a little religious shrine on the island, and this is a cemetery where the fishermen who have lost their lives in the activities of fishing have been buried. The central part of Baja California is also a wintering location for black brant. They're small goose-like birds that are related to Canada geese, and they occur in this area during the wintertime and the early spring. And here they are on the west coast of San Jeronimo Island, and you can see a large number of other resting seabirds in the background. This is low tide on San Jeronimo Island, the southwest corner of the island. As you can see from the previous videos, there's a large area of the coast that is exposed tide pools, especially during low tide. And here we have a closer view where you can see some of the marine algae. In addition to the marine algae, we have invertebrates like the sea hare in the tide pools. Unfortunately, San Jeronimo Island is also an attractant for marine drifting material and various types of plastic and garbage. One large piece of drift material on the island was a piece of a jet airplane. One wonders what happened to the original airplane.